Angela and Mark, I'm just so happy to talk to you all today about your wonderful nonprofit in Norman, Pantry Partners. I've been privileged to just get to know about it and be just involved on the sidelines watching the great work that you do. And I'm so curious to know, Angela, what really prompted you to, number one, realize that there's food insecurity in Norman High School, and that you wanted to do something about it, that you saw that there was such a need, because what you do is just fills such a niche that really needs attention.
Well, and years ago, many years ago, I was a teacher at a local middle school in Norman, and that's when I first started recognizing that there was food insecurity in our community. But I was a young teacher, and I, would do what I could when I could, and then I moved on from teaching to other things. And so throughout those years, Mark and I would help different, usually teenagers, anonymously through other organizations or other people. They would let us know a kid was in need or something, and we would help with that. And when our son started attending Norman High, he would bring home all these kids at lunch, and these boys, and sometimes there'd be up to a dozen boys at our house, and and I'm making sandwiches as fast as I can, or heating up leftovers because they were so hungry. And I thought, my gosh, I know growing boys, but it just seemed like it was extra. And then I would go pull up with the minivan sometimes, and they would all pile in, and I would take them to go get something to eat, and the majority of them couldn't afford, or didn't have extra money to buy anything at whatever place we were going to. So I would just buy everybody's lunches or whatever. And throughout that time, we would talk to our son about different friends, and he would let us know that various ones were going through different things. He had several friends that were experiencing homelessness and crisis in their family, or just a wide variety. And there was discussion about lack of food and resources. And I just was blown away by that, because I knew that was something that happened, but I didn't really think about it being as widespread as it is. I didn't realize the depth of it in Norman, and I thought, well, if it's like this in Norman, obviously it's that way everywhere. Of course, I knew, you always hear about food insecurity all over the place, all over our country. But for Norman, I just didn't think of it as a real crisis situation. And the more I learned about these kids, the more I understood that, especially teenagers, there just weren't a lot of programs or resources that focused on what teens in those situations needed. And as time passed on, our son graduated, and I heard that I had learned that there was a pantry at Norman High. And I thought, well, I'm going to go check this out. And I did, and I asked to volunteer. And so through my volunteering through Norman High's pantry, I learned a lot more about food insecurity among teenagers, and I also learned that there just weren't a lot of resources to address the need, because while I was serving food needs, I had so many requests for a plethora of needs, like socks and underwear and hygiene things, and assistance and eyeglasses and clothes and laundry soap or toilet paper. There was just basic necessities. I did not realize there was going to be such a need. So, of course, we would reach out to our friends and community members to help us, but then it got to the point where it was a lot more than we could do on our own. And that's when I started researching nonprofits and seeing, what was out there for teenagers. And I just decided I'm just going to have to create one myself. So we created Pantry Partners, and that was in 2019. So through that experience of having teenagers ourselves and friends that were experiencing various crises, and then being a pantry coordinator, that kind of laid the groundwork for our nonprofit. And we started that, and it was specifically going to be for food, to help the local schools, with supplemental food, because not all of them, they get food all the schools, they have regional food bank budgets and they get food, but it's not always enough, especially for teenagers. It's not enough food for what they need, for growing teenagers. And we serve, Norman High, Norman North, Dimensions, and we have other teens that we serve that are working on a GED or going to school online or whatever they're doing. We prefer that they be pursuing some type of education, but it's not, like, okay, if you're not in school, we don't help you. If you're a teenager and you're hungry, we're going to help. We're going to assist you. So our program is structured where we go beyond food. So we have a shoe program. If kids need new shoes and they're referred to that program, we buy them new shoes, because I think one of the most visible signs of poverty are shoes. I mean, you can look at a child or even an adult, but a child, and you can tell if the shoes don't look like they fit properly or they're severely worn or dirty. There's probably something more to their story, So that is a real sign a visible sign of poverty that people could recognize. Then we have a Christmas program, we have Adopt a Senior program, we have Thanksgiving food box program, we have back to school program. Is that all? All the programs are geared to specifically for the teens that we serve to meet the basic needs and immediate needs that they have. A lot of teenagers, we've learned over the years, many of them don't have Christmas. They haven't had Christmas, or maybe they, because they have younger siblings or the family can't afford it or whatever, and they get overlooked. It's easy because they're not going to say anything. So our Christmas program is really popular, and we have individuals from the community that sponsor students, and they go out and they buy gifts for them from their wish list, and it's really exciting. And the kids will, they just are in awe. They can't believe that a stranger cared enough about them to make sure they had this wonderful Christmas. And I've had students tell me, or teenagers, that they've never had more than one gift before, or they've never owned more than one pair of shoes before. They've never owned a new pair of shoes before. Or they've told us that the only presents they had under the tree came from Pantry Partners programs. So those are really important lessons that we're learning about teens, because then we realize, okay, yeah, we're on the right path, and this is what kids need. This is what these teenagers need. They need to be seen, valued, appreciated, and recognized, because a lot of teens go unnoticed and underserved because they're not going to say anything. They're trying to blend in with their friends. They don't want to draw attention to themselves. So all our programs are very discreet. We try to make sure that they feel comfortable when they come in. And our newest program most recent one is the Beacon Project, and it's a free Wi-Fi cafe in the front part of our location, where the teens that we serve can come in. It's like a coffee shop. They come in, hang out, charge their laptops and their phones, and listen to music. They have their earbuds on or whatever. They can do homework. We have resources, and they can. We have a little cafe where they can get food, and it's all prepackaged food, microwavable things, and tea and coffee and whatever drinks that we have. And that's our newest program. And so far, the kids that have been able to utilize it, they always say it's awesome. So that's important, that they feel comfortable to come in and hang out. We don't bother them. They do their thing, and we're just there to if they need us.
So your facility is just so welcoming and just so fun, from guitars on the walls to books and televisions and comfy leather couches, and it's just I think it's very welcoming and friendly. And then at the back there's this amazing store a very organized store of food, and it's really wonderful, and within walking distance.
Yes, we are walking distance of one of the high schools. Yes, and we're not that far from the other ones.
So it's pretty easy for them to be able to get there.
And it's a discreet location.
It is a discreet location. It's in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
So tell me how you staff your organization, and also how do you get all the food how do you obtain your food? that you give out?
Well, we are 100% volunteer run because we're small and we have a small team, but everybody volunteers. That's how we do everything is through volunteers, and we have a very small team. Half our board members are on our team too, so they're volunteering and helping us get everything ready. And all the food that we get, we do have. I'm a site coordinator for Norman High. My friend is site coordinator for Norman North. So we have contracts with Regional Food Bank as individual site coordinators for a certain amount of money. We have a certain amount of budget depending on how many kids that we're serving through those high schools. And they deliver that food to Pantry Partners. We partner with them, so they deliver it to us. And then Pantry Partners comes in behind that, and then we fundraise and secure donations to supplement the rest of the food that's necessary to feed the teenagers that we do every month, which is quite a lot of food. And so the food is people donate food, but we post lists all the time on social media and through emails, and they drop off food at designated times. We have groups and organizations and schools that do food drives, which are amazing and wonderful. And then we have people that just don't, they don't have time to do any of that, so they just donate money, which is great too, because we can go and shop for what we need. And we do shop for it. We buy a lot of food. It takes a lot of food to feed as many teenagers that we have on our list. And in Norman alone, for Norman Public Schools, I think it's about 52% of the student body for Norman Public Schools it qualifies for free and reduced lunches. That's pretty high.
It's pretty high.
Yeah. So the students that we serve are just a small amount of who really do qualify for what we do. And it's just the matter of having the schools, the teachers or the counselors or themselves, the kids themselves refer themselves to their program, because you can self-refer. We try to make it as easy as possible for the teens that are in need to access resources, food, and supplies from us. We just ask that they ask, they can email us or they can come in. We've had kids that have come into our location and self-referred and said, how do I get help? And then we just tell them this is how we do it, and they know when we're going to do distribution every month, and it's done in a discrete time and when there's not a lot of people around, and we do it in the middle of the month usually, and we do food boxes because it kind of helps get through the rest of the month. Snap cards kind of run out, money runs out in the middle of the month, so we try to help supplement for the rest of the month. But it is weekend food. So for teenagers, the concept is that you're helping them with weekend food because they have access to food at the schools during the day, and so you're supplying weekend food. So we're doing weekend food, and then when they have school breaks, we do that as well. Like we just did our spring break food distribution, and that we're covering 14 days of food for that teenager. So it's a lot of food. We packed a lot of food. Wish I could tell you the pounds right now. I can't remember. But anyway, we packed a lot of food and we distribute a lot of food because we have to account for the weekends of March plus the days they're out of school that they don't have access to food at the school.
Right.
And so we do that.
Well, I know I've seen a lot of pictures of Mark, your husband, packing food and organizing food.
Yes.
You're very involved in it.
I enjoy it. It's just another way for me to feel like I'm giving back and adding value. Yeah. And it's helping so many kids.
It's a wonderful project. So you do get food from the Regional Food Bank, but you also, I know, rely on donations, both monetary and donations of food and or personal hygiene items.
Oh, yes.
We've collected some things like that.
Yeah, the personal hygiene things.
What is the best way for people to really know what you need and be able to help and get donations to you?
Well, the majority of our call to actions are placed on our social media, so that would be Facebook and Instagram because it seems to be most effective, and people check it and they see it. Like recently, I posted a call to action. I had a request for caps and tassels for 30 seniors from Dimensions, and within 24 hours we had enough money to purchase those for those seniors.
That's
And
wonderful.
we've done that for them before. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And because I don't think people realize how expensive senior year is. And if you're already struggling and you're already dealing with so much, or your family may not be able to afford, or whatever the situation is, those added expenses, a lot of seniors go without. They don't get to go to prom. They don't get a yearbook. They may not even go to graduation because they don't have anything to wear, whatever their situation is. So we try to make sure that we find the resources to make sure that they are well celebrated and know that we appreciate the work that they put into graduating, and that they were able to graduate. It's a big deal if you're dealing with so much, and food insecurity and all the other things that come along with crisis or poverty or whatever's going, whatever the situation is, and you graduate. We have so many kids, they work full time and go to school. And we have students who live on their own. They pay their rent, they pay their bills, they work full time, and they go to school, and they're going to graduate. I think that's astounding. And
It is a huge accomplishment.
and I just feel like we really need to make sure, as a society and a community, that we show them that we value them and their accomplishments, and that we celebrate them. So our Adopt a Senior program is going on right now, so it's pretty exciting. We have several seniors that are already signed up that are going to need assistance with quite a few things, but the community is really quick to act because they understand. If we're posting a need, it's real. It's we do it when we get requests, we're on it immediately.
I keep hearing the word value, and it's obvious that you both give a lot of value in your life. Through Pantry Partners and through Mark, through your real estate and helping people with homes. I think Norman is, in the community, you're really lucky to have you. And I'm lucky to know you and to know about your story and what you've done, and share it with others, because it's it's interesting how it's grown to touch people more than just their food. You're really touching them in so many areas of their life and providing value. And I bet you they'll return that someday.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I do believe that when you invest in these kids, they're our future. So I feel like it's real important to invest in them now. I think it helps build stronger communities in a future. We're going to need them.
Yes.
And I really appreciate your support. You've always been very supportive of what we do, and that's important because that's what everyone. I mean, it's not just us. It takes all of us to make this difference with these kids.
I can see that.
And so that's real important. And we feel lucky that we're able to be in this position to do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a privilege.
It is a privilege.
Yeah, it really is.
It is. Well, you all are terrific.
And we've met some really astounding, just great teenagers. There's so many great kids out there, and they just need a little help. That's it. They just need a little help, a little lift up. Mm-hmm. It's not a handout; it's a lift up, and that's what we're about.
That's awesome. Well, they're lucky to have you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You have one of your first fundraisers coming up, and so there's a great opportunity for people to be able to help you. So tell me about your fundraiser.
Yes, it's our first. I guess it's our first official large fundraiser that we've ever had, and it's called Feeding Hope, and it's going to be at the Noun, which is the new very nice hotel right on Campus Corner. So we're really excited about that, and it's being hosted by Melissa and Robbie, and they've been really big supporters of Pantry Partners, and so we partnered with them to host this our first fundraiser. And it is Saturday, April the 29th from 11 to 1:30, and you can purchase tickets through our website or through our Facebook event. The seats, they're seats, not tickets, sorry. You can purchase a seat, and they are $40 a seat, and it's the lunch is being catered by the Noun, and we'll have we have some door prizes, and we'll have some special appearances where we will have we're real excited because we're going to have some students who have benefited from Pantry Partners in the past and have graduated and gone on and done some pretty neat things. They're going to come and share their story, and with with the audience and talk about what Pantry Partners meant for them and how we impacted their lives. So we're real excited about that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we feel really honored that they would come and speak. And there'll be a lot of informational things. We'll have some vignettes that show off, showcase all our different programs. We'll have team members and board members there. So we're real excited about it. You know, it's our first one, so we're kind of a little nervous, but we hope that it's a success because all the proceeds are going to fund our program so that we can continue to grow and serve more kids.
Exactly. Well, I'm excited to be invited, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're real excited about it, and we
Hope you raise lots of money.
Yeah, we do too. Yes, bring your checkbooks down.